Hello friends and beautiful people. We are out in the shop today and we are making some lotion. Hubs is out and I have come up with a formula that really helps with his dry cracked feet in the winter. He's saying in his normal husband fashion that he's pretty sure that he's wearing holes in the bottom of his socks because his feet are cracked. So we need to make him some lotion. So I will put the recipe for this lotion in the description box of the video because I do not sell any liquid product. Those things are more heavily regulated by the FDA, and that is just not a road I want to go down. And if it's something you're considering doing, I would highly suggest that you check the US or the FDA laws as well as your local laws, because there's a lot more regulations when it comes to liquid product versus just a regular soap. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is weighing everything out. Remember that when we're making soaps and when we're making lotions, when you see ounces, those are not liquid ounces like you put in a measuring cup. Those are actually a weight. So we want to make sure that we're weighing everything out. The first thing I have put in my, I put it in a pan on just heat, just to warm it up, and that was about 3.2 ounces of cocoa butter. The good thing about this lotion versus a soap is that you don't have to be exact. As long as you're pretty close, you're good. So I melted my 3.2 ounces of cocoa butter, and now I'm going to put in 8 ounces of olive oil. Bring you over here and show you what we're doing. It helps to turn the camera around. Hang on here. I might have to set you on the stove. All right. Let's see if we can get you set up somewhere where you can see better. All right, so there's our little pot. And we've got our cocoa butter and our olive oil in there. I don't know what I did with my little spatula, so it looks like we're using a wooden spoon. I never use metal when I'm doing anything with the exception I have a whisk that I use, but I try to use wooden spoons if I'm using a spoon, and if I'm using, I like to use spatulas, the rubber spatulas. So we've got our cocoa butter and our olive oil in here, and now we're going to measure out some coconut oil. And here's a fun fact, is that I am allergic to nuts. Coconut is the worst thing for me. However, I mean, if I eat anything with coconut, my throat closes right now. But if I use it topically, I don't have an issue. So because Hubs screwed up, I'm actually using one that he bought on Amazon. I was comparing prices from what I usually pay versus what it is on Amazon, and Hubs added it to my cart. All right, so I've measured out my coconut oil. And if your coconut oil starts to get hard in the container, you can always set the container in like a water bath and warm it up enough to get some out, as long as you're getting your weight in there. Now I do have the heat turned off on this right now. I don't know if there's a better angle for you or not without breaking my but we do want to make sure all of these little chunkies are melted. So I'm going to again just turn my heat on super low because I don't want to cook this, I just want to melt it. And while this is melting a little more, I'm going to go ahead and get my beeswax. And for this, you're going to use 0.8 ounces of beeswax. Now I will tell you, the first time I made this, I didn't feel like the 0.8 ounces was enough because it was real syrupy. But I So I doubled it and added a bunch more. And I ended up with a nice body butter, but you couldn't squeeze it out of my little jugs, so it was kind of self-defeating. So while that's melting, we're going to put our beeswax in and get this weighed out. And hopefully if you have a digital scale, you know how to use the tare function. Now this time I am using, I'm not using our beeswax from our bees. This is a purchased product that I have bought. There are some times when I want it to be super, super clear and no honey in it, which I don't suppose it would be too bad if I had honey in it right now, but I do buy some from the place where I get my candle supplies. Has nice big bricks of the beeswax as well. So I use a really high grade soy wax, and I get that in a 50-pound case, and then I use the carbonless wicks. So I just place one big order all at the same time to save on shipping. So I usually have lots of beeswax on hand. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt all this down. I'm not going to add my essential oil in yet, because remember, you don't want your essential oil to be heated up. You're going to lose some of the medicinal properties of it if you heat it up. And we're basically just getting this all melted, and I'm going to put in about 12 drops of vitamin E oil. And I love what vitamin E oil does for your skin. Which is honestly why I started making lotion in the first place. I was a huge fan of a particular brand of lotion, and the store that we shop at quit carrying it, or they quit making it, one or the other. I think they just quit carrying it. And I've tried other ones. I've tried Jergens, and I've tried expensive ones, and really none of them did what that lotion did for me. So I decided to make my own. There we go. So as you can see, it's just melted. It's not cooking, it's not boiling. The fire has been off for a minute. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to add about 20 drops of lavender oil. And I know you're wondering if my husband likes lavender oil, and he doesn't mind it. I like it because it has all of the things. It does a lot. There's other ones that I could use, but he doesn't like citrusy. And I have thought about doing like a rosemary or a sage to see if he likes that. The rosemary one would be really great in the springtime for farmers' hands. And that's it. I'm going to pour this into my bottles. This is all I have for bottles. I just got these from Midwest Bottles. They were on clearance. It's just for us, so it doesn't matter. And I got the little push-up lid. And I'm just going to pour this into my bottles and take it in and give it to the hubs. By doing it this way, I didn't need to use my stick blender, and it all just kind of melted together. I'll make sure it's not hot when I pour it in the bottles, because the bottles are plastic. I will let it cool off a little bit. Friends, that's how easy it is. So until next time, be blessed, be a blessing, and if you can do it yourself, why not?